So, good afternoon and welcome everyone. If you wouldn't mind just checking your cell phones real quick. I just checked mine, and of course both of them were full blast, so that would have been fun had I got a phone call. My brother's in the room, and he probably would have done it just to be mean. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. This is the November 28th, 2023 Hardin County Fiscal Court regular voting meeting. And let's begin and call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Squire Clem. Here. Squire Hicks. Here. Squire Muse. Here. Squire Pennington.
Here.
Squire Saltzman.
Here.
Squire Thompson.
Here.
Squire Whitehead.
Here.
Squire Yates.
Here.
Judge Tall.
Here. We'll move on to our invocation by Magistrate Aaron Pennington and Pledge of Allegiance. Magistrate Fred Clem will lead us.
Bow with me. Father God, we just thank you for today. We just thank you for this season of the holiday spirit. And Father, just thank you again for Thanksgiving and what it means to us as a nation. And Father, I'm just thankful for health and safety. And Father, I just continue to pray for those that are sick and potentially haven't been able to spend time with their family this season. I ask you now, just as we continue to go throughout our night and conduct business, Father, that you would just bless us and allow us to make decisions that are just pleasing to you. Father, just ask you now to guide us. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, again, thanks for joining today. Appreciate everybody being here. And we'll just move on. I'd like to quickly review the agenda. It's pretty typical. We have our minutes that we need to, from the last meeting, that we need to approve. We have some department and office reports and presentations to go through. We'll have a time for any citizens' concerns or comments. And then we have two very important ordinances that we are going to be looking at and discussing and voting on today. And then after that, we have our consent agenda with some fairly typical things embedded in that, and I'll review those. And then we have time for some comments at the end of the meeting. All right, so that's the agenda. So let's move on then to approving the Hardin County Fiscal Court November 14th, 2023 minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we're going to have roll call.
Squire Clem.
Yes.
Squire Hicks.
Yes.
Squire Muse.
Yes.
Squire Pennington.
Yes.
Squire Saltzman.
Yes.
Squire Thompson.
Yes.
Squire Whitehead.
Yes.
Squire Yates.
Yes.
Judge Tall.
Yes, motion passes. Okay, next on the agenda is the presentations, and we'll start out with EMS. Our Director, Mark Peterson, will come and take care of that for us.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have for you the September and October activity report for EMS. First slide here is our runs to incorporated cities for September of 2023. The top three being E-Town, Radcliffe, and the city of Vine Grove. Next are runs to unincorporated cities for September. Central Hardin District being number 1, Glendale being number 2, and Rineyville being second. Interesting note about Glendale, our response to that area is about doubled since February. So definitely busy down there. Runs to incorporated cities for October. Again, E-Town, Radcliffe, and Vine Grove. Unincorporated for October, Central Hardin, Rineyville, and then Glendale. Top 10 dispatch natures for September, they're listed there. The top 3 being calls for sick people, falls, non or minor injury, and then breathing problems, which is starting to be pretty typical this time of year with the weather change. Dispatch natures for October, sick person, breathing problems, and falls again. Billable versus non-billable runs for September of this year versus September of last year. We've made 1,604 responses in September, which is up about 200 runs. Of those runs, 1,156 were billable and 448 were not. October runs, total 1,609, which is up about 115. Of those runs, 1,257 were billable and 352 were not. So fiscal year so far, we've made 6,473 responses. Of those, 4,861 were billable, 1,612 were not, which shows an increase of 513 runs already for fiscal year this year. And with that, I'll take any questions. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Mark.
Thank you.
All right, next up is E911, Director Mike Leo.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm here to present the activity report for the 911 Center for the month of October. You can control my slides. 911 calls answered, 4,352. 9,967 CAD reports created. Answered 6,209 administrative calls. Dispatched ambulance service 1,617 times. Dispatched 384 fire runs. And handled 2,028 attempt to serve prisoner transport and traffic stop type calls. Slide just shows the breakdown of calls of service by agency. EMS at 39.1%. Radcliffe PD 27.5%. Sheriff's Office 16.6%. You can see the remainder of the agencies we dispatch for and their percentages there. Fire runs by department for October. E-Town at 32.4%. Radcliffe at 20.6%. And you can see the remainder of the fire departments and their percentages. Calls transferred to the law enforcement agencies here in the county. Total calls transferred, 733, 633 to E-Town Police, and then 100 to the Kentucky State Police. That is all I have for my presentation. Any questions for me?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know how many people know that EPD then is the only agency or that we have to transfer a call. It comes into 911 and then you transfer it to them and then they handle it from there. Is that how it works?
Correct. We are the PSAP, which is the public safety answering point. You dial 911, it rings here, Hardin. If it's a law call, the jurisdiction of Elizabethtown, it gets rung down to them to navigate and respond to. Calls sent to the state police are calls that are technically on the interstate, things like that they typically handle. The majority of the calls for law for the county are held by the Sheriff's Office, and then we also dispatch for Radcliffe Police Department.
So in your estimation, we could probably get the exact amount of what the delay would be for someone calling and needing the Elizabethtown Police Department. There's a time lag there because you get it and then you have to transfer it to them.
Correct. It's short, but there is a time difference for it to be exchanged to them, yes.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up, Detention Center, Josh Lindblom.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, October 2023 for the Hardin Detention Center.
Lodging income, $374,049.28. Intake for the month was 476. We released 481, so that's a good month. Average daily 587, total count 546. So if you notice, our numbers have been running a lot lower. Not necessarily saying that it's a phenomenon or anything and stuff, but it just means that we have a little less state prisoners and people getting sentenced, and state corrections doesn't sentence anybody. So if you look, state is 46 and county is 54. If you look at the charge info, of course, there's a lot of DUIs. 39, assault 4-3-20, possession of marijuana 30, violation of Kentucky EPO DDO 6, non-payment of fines only 1, which that's a surprising number. Theft by deception 0, that's a pretty good month. Shoplifting 8, felony charges, burglary 1st, 2nd, or 3rd 4, robbery 1st and 2nd 0, assault 1st, 2nd, 3rd 7, possession of controlled substance 51, flagrant non-support 3, trafficking of illegal substances 18. That weekend total says 1, it should say 19. So that's a typo. Inmate hours worked 13,004 hours. If you equate that to even minimum wage, it's $81,200 in savings. That's a pretty good lick there. Medical. And like I said before, of course, we're spending a lot of money on medications right now. So about 40% of our medication bill is actually cut. So that's looking a whole lot better. Outside appointments, 15. Emergency room visits, 5. Nursing visits, 652. Medical requests, 576. Hospital admissions, 1. Inmates on medication, only 235. And if you notice, remember a couple months back, we were about 375, so that's a big difference. We spent a lot of time in October setting up with different things at the co-op and at the cooperative office, the extension office. So we only did 97 miles of roads and 1,661 bags of trash. We also set up for different festivals, different things, and cleaned up after parades and got all that done, so they were pretty busy. Any questions?
Josh, looking at the billing ratio, 4654, favorable to the state again this month. Any update on the task force or how it's coming?
It's slow as molasses. So right now it looks like we had our last task force meeting up there. Not much has changed. I don't believe they're going to have a fix to this in the next couple of years, probably, but we'll see. I know they're talking a whole lot about state takeover. When you look at the different numbers and everything for their former plans, of course, it would cost the county a lot more money for that, so it's still kind of a standstill. The lawsuit that the Jail Association put on the state has not had much traction yet. They're still taking depositions, so hopefully there's something that comes out of that. And there's a couple bills that are going up in front of the session this year, but we'll just have to see. But right now, we haven't got any state prisoners from Department of Corrections in 5 months, 6 months. And the ones that we are getting are coming from other jails that are just like smaller jails that are getting full to where they can't house them. So we move them up here and stuff and reap the benefits from that. But yeah, it's a slow moving system right now, pretty broken.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Is that because of the classification problem?
Not just because of the classification problem, it's because, so years ago, when all that law went into effect about the pregnant female, the Dignity Act and everything, we still can't get a prisoner from the jail to have a baby in, state corrections. It's not happening. I was told before and stuff that, there hasn't been a single female give birth to a baby in county custody in the last 2 years. Well, we had 9, last year? So, it's just not, it's, like I said, it's a broken system, but not necessarily classification. I mean, classification, what really drags on is whenever you go to, if you get somebody up to state prison, of course, they drag on to get them up there. It's actually, by the time you get there, it takes them about 2 or 3 months to get classified up there. So, in all actuality, it's really just a system that, none of them up there know how to fix it, I guess, so it's been pretty rough.
Okay. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Does that make sense? I mean, it's not necessarily, you know, because.
That's not the entire problem. Okay.
Well, and around here, of course, you know, county attorney's office, Commonwealth attorney's office, they get people taken care of pretty quick through the system. The court system here takes care of it, you know, gets everybody through the system pretty quick. But when it gets to that state level, it starts dragging, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question. I just want to thank you guys for your quick response on that over off of Patriot Parkway that I called you about, the shingles and
That was
whatnot.
a lot of stuff.
Yes, it was.
Somebody just blatantly just went up there and dumped, you know, two
Yeah, that
tons of
was
stuff, you know.
very uncalled for, yeah.
And I will tell you, Ron Harrell from Building the Ground, he come out and helped out a whole lot, because, you know, we would never go get all that stuff up, and, because it was full of nails.
Yeah.
I don't want the inmates getting poked with nails and stuff like that, but,
Right.
you know, I think over the last month, we probably picked up 85 dead deer on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Different things like that. We're getting calls every day about it, and it's not really our job, but we do it anyway, because, you know, nobody wants to see that sitting on the side of the road.
Appreciate that.
We've cleaned up a couple small dump sites, nothing major, but it's still pretty bad. I mean, you get on some of these roads, it's pretty junked up. You can clear off Patriot Parkway, and then the next day you go back out there, it looks rough again. So, wish people would quit that. You know?
Yep. But I just wanted to thank you for that,
Well, thank you.
and your guys.
Anybody else?
Well, I just want to thank Josh for, after they were done the roadside mowing down there on 62, there was a lot of trash paper, really bad. The wind came through and blowed a whole lot of it away, but I called Josh, and I think the next day he was out there and got it cleaned up, so thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Y'all have a lovely day.
All right.
Good job. Thank you, Josh.
Have a lovely evening.
Okay, next on the agenda, of course, there's a written report by our planning director, Adam King, that's available to look at. And then, so next is our citizens' concerns or comments. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment? Yes, please. Again, we have 3 minutes, so if we can summarize best you can, I appreciate it.
Okay. This is in reference to all the tax ordinances.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a little statement, kind of. Why not wait? What's the rush? Aren't our legislators working on a bill concerning the annexation this January session? The people hear and see what's happening with Ford. They are shutting down plants left and right. They are laying off employees in large numbers. Their EVs have been a complete failure. Can Ford close their doors? A loss of $827 million last year and on track to lose $4.5 billion this year. They are talking about going from 2,500 jobs to 700 jobs. They are putting back about $12 billion in investments in EVs. Ouch. Another issue is their huge labor costs. Ford pays an extra $900 per vehicle. Ford is facing $1.5 billion to $2 billion in settlements. They have a $7 billion disadvantage than other competitors. They have had 10,000 employee loss globally this year. So again, why is the rush? What is the county going to do when Ford goes under and you have already put the cart in front of the horse and taxed the people of Hardin County? What is the county going to do when 22,000 people don't come because the Ford plant doesn't happen? 1% may not seem like a lot of money to y'all, but it will be to other families and it'll hurt them. I ask that you reconsider and table for a later date. I also ask you to start talking to the community on the what ifs with Ford possibly going under. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, anybody else? Yes.
This is regarding Ordinance 337 and 338 as well.
Okay.
Please consider rescinding or tabling these ordinances because of the unforeseen situation at Blue Oval and Ford. If it is decided not to rescind or table, please consider having a private meeting among yourselves after everyone who has concerns about the tax have been able to address this court. This does not mean just comments from people today, but comments possibly made 2 weeks from now when it, hits the papers. Wait until the third fiscal court meeting. Why? You may have questions or concern yourselves, but because of the meeting is being videoed, you feel reluctant to ask, and you vote without considering all questions brought to this court. Not just these, but all issues should have time for consideration before you speak among. I know you're on camera, so you're gun-shy about speaking up and having a conversation. So I would like you all consider taking the time in maybe a third fiscal court meeting to decide before you answer. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to looking at these two ordinances. And before we move forward, let me first kind of give you the full title. Of course, it's been out there on the website for anyone to see, but we have two ordinances to vote on. The first one is ordinance number 337, series 2023. This is an ordinance amending ordinance number 326, series 2021, updating the creation of an industrial taxing district and the imposition, administration, and payment of a special ad valorem tax therein. Okay, so that's the first one that we will vote on. The second one is ordinance number 338, series 2023, and this is an ordinance amending ordinance number 327, series 2021, updating the occupational tax within the industrial and commercial taxing district and the administration and payment of the tax therein. So those are the two ordinances. I just have a few minutes here I'd like to take to explain why we're doing this and why this is coming up for vote. So the two industrial taxing district ordinances these are not new, obviously. They were enacted just a couple of years ago in 2021. These ordinances were established to add a revenue source to support the anticipated cost of increased demand for county services during the implementation of a huge economic development project, namely Blue Oval SK, or BOSC, as we'll call it at times. In fact, the ability to create an industrial taxing district was passed by the Kentucky legislature in 2002 at the time that the Glendale megasite was developed for counties with a development project that would result in the creation of at least 500 new jobs. The purpose was to allow local governments, and Hardin County in particular at that time, access to revenue for the expansion on demand of services brought about by industrial growth. The industrial taxing district imposed a special commercial, industrial, and telecommunication ad valorem property tax of 10 cents per $100 of valuation. Now, sometimes some people have mentioned to me that they're not familiar with ad valorem taxes, and that they are basically leveled or levied based on a percentage of an item's value. So, for example, a 10-cent tax per $100 of value of a property would be an ad valorem tax. It does not apply to, this tax does not apply to a residential and agricultural property. In addition, the industrial taxing district imposed an occupational tax of 1% on all wages and compensation and net profits of businesses in the district. The occupational tax on wages and compensation is paid by the employee. The net profits tax is, of course, paid by the employer. The current taxing district covers the Glendale region of the county currently. The intent was to tax commercial and industrial development related to the Glendale industrial site, not to unduly burden the residents, farmers, and home businesses of the county. An occupational tax is based on where someone works. So, for instance, I pay for local tax on my wages to the city of Elizabethtown, and that's based upon the location of the Hardin County Government Building right here within the city limits of Elizabethtown. The occupational tax is generated by those working in Hardin County, which importantly will be paid by a large number of non-Hardin County residents who travel Hardin County roads and utilize Hardin County services as they come here to work. So this is not simply a tax on Hardin County residents, but is a genuine effort for the increased demand for services to be paid by those who are increasing the use of those services. So based upon the comprehensive BOSC impact study that many of you are familiar with, there is an estimated 22,000 plus, about a 20% increase in population boost expected in the next 5 to 7 years in Hardin County. The study indicates that all of Hardin County will be affected, resulting in a multiplication of demand for services across the entire county. Property tax revenues, this is an important statement, property tax revenues are already inadequate. They are inadequate to provide current expected levels of required county services. So this is not all about growth. The detention center and the sheriff's budget expenses raised significantly in 2023, and 2024 budgets will continue to rise. All county departments' expenses are increasing and are forecasted to continue to do so due to augmented cost of wages, fuel, maintenance, and equipment. Emergency services such as EMS, fire, 911, and emergency management must be properly funded to provide the expected essential services and to expand with the rapid growth predicted. So given the current intensifying demand on current services, including recent inflationary impacts and future growth pressures on county services, these revised ordinances will expand the 2021 industrial taxing district geographic boundaries that's currently around the Glendale BOSC site to all of unincorporated Hardin County, all unincorporated Hardin County. This will accurately reflect the shared impact the BOSC project will have on the entirety of Hardin County and not only help pay for current and improved services, but will help assure more sustainable county revenue. So that sums up what's going on here. It's not pleasant. Honestly, I hate it. I don't want to do it. But it is, I believe, the responsible thing to do. I can tell you that we are currently working on finding waste and trying to reduce cost. All of our department heads will tell you that we're working on those things. And, our current budget already incorporates about a $200,000 improvement in our EMS department. So we're working diligently on that. But it's still a very tight budget. And with some of the things that we've had to buy, we've purchased 6 ambulances to date this year. Our ambulance fleet is pretty much old, it's beat up, and this is the hand that we're dealt. So we're moving to take care of that, and it all costs a lot of money. So we're already, with our current budget, already know that we are going to be pulling some money out of our out of our general fund, something that you don't want to do, and at least not very often. So it's a tough thing that we're in right now, and I know this is a big change. It's a big change, and change isn't always pleasant, that's for sure. But I see this as an investment, really. It's an investment in our future, our children, our grandchildren, to make sure that we are providing the services that they are going to require and that they will want, important services that the county must provide. So I don't think there's ever a good time to do something like this, and it's not something I want to do or bring this up for a vote to make this change. But again, I believe that this is something that we must do, and that it is the right thing to do to assure that all of you, all the citizens of this county, receive the services that they need to have. And next time you call 911 in a very difficult situation, that you won't be put on hold. You will get somebody on that line, and they will patch you through quickly and efficiently, professionally, and that there will be somebody responding to the fire, to the emergency, whatever it might be, and that response time will be as short as possible to get people there. These are the things that your tax money, the tax money locally, is paying for. Now, I do want to differentiate the tax money that's being paid locally versus what we all pay to our Commonwealth, to the state, and especially the federal money that we all pay. That's two different, very large buckets of money that come out of our pocketbooks. And I'm not downplaying the amount of money that's coming out of our pocketbooks for your local government here and the services that we are trying to provide to all the citizens. I'm not downplaying that at all. It's not a very big bucket, okay, comparatively. And so by asking and trying to work through this, we are increasing the bucket a little bit for sure to try to continue to provide essential services to all of us that as we need them. And I just hope that there will be some consideration as we try to move through this process. So at that, in that introduction, I think I'm ready then to look at this first ordinance, 337 Series 2023. This is amending the creation of the Industrial Tax District. And is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Is there any discussion about it?
Judge, I'd just like to say I don't believe that there's any one of us 9, when we was running for office, said that we want to come in here and raise taxes. I want people to understand that's something that we don't want to do. That's not something that any of us would like to do. But every one of you guys, when you call 911, you want the sheriff's department to be out there ASAP. When you call for an ambulance, you want them there yesterday. And at that time, you wouldn't put a price tag on your family. So this is a necessary thing to do to ensure that we have the resources available to you guys. And that's why I'll be voting yes. And something about being shy. I can guarantee you, us 9, we ran for office. We put our names out there. We put our families out there for this criticism. So you can come up here and say we're shy or whatever, but we're the ones that put our name out there and willing to come up here and take the heat from you guys to ensure that the county's ran and ensure that y'all have the resources that you need.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Judge, may I speak?
Yes.
I don't want a tax imposed for any reason, and I agree and ditto everything that Mr. Yates says. I don't think any of us in here want to pay any more taxes than we absolutely have to. But then again, I don't believe in reacting to a situation when you could have been proactive and prepare for what's to come. We may not have 22,000. We may not. But what if we do? What if we have 10,000? We still have to be proactive and be ready for that. So I believe that, even though none of us want to go this way, I believe it's the responsible thing to do, as Judge Tall mentioned. It's a hard decision. But nothing's ever easy when it involves money and people and their livelihood. It's a hard decision, but I think it's the right decision. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'd just like to make a comment or two. I see this as, how do I put it, spreading the burden on the entire county rather than a specific area, because as it is, it's simply the Glendale area. And we need to be aware that we're all in it together. And the more we can generate from people who are employed in our county and not necessarily residents, the less of a negative impact it'll have on county residents. Unfortunately, our national economy is impacting Hardin County in a way that makes it extremely challenging with costs, with cost of labor, and the labor pool of people who want to work and do the work that we need to provide here in the county. And we have for some time not had any excess funding in order to provide for these services, yet we hear constantly people who are wanting us to do a better job with roads, to do a better job with emergency services, to do a better job in every way for the services that are expected of us. But truthfully, as Hardin County has touted for years, we have been the lowest taxed county in the state, and that has put us at a disadvantage. There are some structures with state government that prevent us from having the resources that many counties do have. Fortunately, we now can do an industrial tax because of having an industrial taxing district and have income that has heretofore been restricted only to the cities. And we're not looking at enacting an amount that's even comparable in any way to that amount. So for Hardin County residents, we have been very fortunate over the years. I am opposed to any tax that's not necessary, that we're all in it together to provide. I've run against tax increases, but the responsible thing here is to continue to operate government. And government has become much more costly. And we're needing to look at sources of revenue. And here is one that we can now utilize. So I'm at this point going to be responsible in my vote.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, Judge. I think there's one thing that we're maybe forgetting is how expensive and how hard it is to make ends meet right now. We've got a lot of families out here that is struggling. I've lost track of how many phone calls I've got of families that call me and said, look, for the first time in a long time, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay my property tax. The cost of food has just went up 30–40%. And we're going to put another burden on the people of Hardin County. The people is not coming. How many more times is Blue Oval going to back up? You know, it was 5,000, then it was 2,500, and the latest I've heard maybe 1,000. So do we have to do this right now? I'm not against it, doing this if it's needed, but I'm not sold on it's needed right now. We made it this year. I think we'll make it next year. But let me tell you something, I've had to tell people no. I've had to tell people, no, we can't blacktop your road this year. But if we do this price increase and we tell them next year that we can't do that, you wait and see, you're going to have a hornet's nest on your hands. Because if we do this tax increase, they're going to expect us to do the services, just like you said, Judge, just like Chris said, 911, all that. If we do this tax increase, we better make sure that we can cover all the bases. And, you know, it's just, the timing is right, or is wrong. You know, right here at Christmas time, I mean, where's the Christmas spirit at? You know, we're going to tax the individuals that work out in the county. We're going to tax the businesses that's out in the county. It's a wrong time. There's nothing wrong with setting this back a little ways. And let's see how many people do come in here. What 911 gave us the other day, the people's not coming. The rate of growth is just about the same thing right now as it was last year. So I don't understand why there's such a big rush. Well, I probably do, but I ain't gonna say it. Such a big rush to do this tax right now. And I will vote no on both of these resolutions.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
Judge, I'd just like to say that the introduction that you gave was spot on. You did a very good job describing what we were doing, why it's needed, and there's not a whole lot to add on to that. Other than, with all due respect, Larry, we're coming up short already. So whether we have the growth or not, it's minute. We're coming up short. We just got a report from the Sheriff's Department. They're wanting an extra $450 some this coming 6 months coming up. Where are we going to get that, Larry? $450,000. $450,000. We're coming up. Excuse me, I'm not finished.
Well, you asked me a question.
No.
Hold on. He's got the floor, okay?
We're coming up short. We've got a big ask coming from the Sheriff's Department wanting us to increase their budget. They go by yearly. We go by starting in July to July or June. So we're going to have to come up with that $450,000 that we've already budgeted. We've already got our budget set. So we're coming up short for that. We're coming up, everybody, as the judge explained, everybody is bumping up their budgets. The jail, I'm sure, we haven't gotten it, but we'll get it in June. No offense, Josh, but yours will probably be more than it was last year. Everything is. You just said it a while ago with the food. Food's going up. We got to feed our employees. So we have to give them what they need. So we've got to come up with this money somewhere, Larry. It's not just for the future. We're not worried about the future. And the roads, we're not going to be able to use this money to pave roads. That's not where the road money comes from. So that's all I have. And if you, Judge, if you'd like for him to respond, he can. Okay. If not,
Would you
it's
like
kind
to
of
respond,
a rhetorical
Larry?
question.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yes. I understand everything has went up, but, you know, I would like to see, and Judge Tall mentioned it, that we're checking all the departments. We're trying to seeing if there's any fat there that we can do away with. I raised 7 kids and 2 grandsons. Things got tough, and I had to say no a lot of times. And in the county, I think sometimes we just need to say no. Look, we're not going to be able to do this right now. I'm not talking about cutting 911 out. I'm not talking about cutting EMS out. But do we need 6 new deputies right now? You know, unless all these people come in overnight, I don't think so. So, you know, I'm saying let's check our budget. Let's see if there's any fat there that we can do away with before we put this tax increase. And this tax increase, it's just like getting a crack in the dam. Once we do this 1%, then the next year we'll be sitting here, well, this ain't good enough. We're going to have another 1%. Let's make sure we got our bases covered before we put this crack in the dam. Okay. That's all I got to say.
All right. Thanks, Larry. Just a quick note. is there an option to go higher than 1%?
No, one is the cap.
Okay.
One's a cap.
Okay. Anybody else?
No time?
No, not
One
the
is
way
the
the
counties are
legislation
capped at
is.
one.
Yeah.
This is capped at 1%.
It's in the
Okay.
ordinance.
I hope we make that,
Just,
put that on the record.
It's in the
That
ordinance. It's
1%
your
won't
voting
go
on.
up.
okay. All right. Anybody else?
I think a couple of meetings ago, maybe 3, one member of this court made the comment, we have got to come up with the money somewhere in order to do the services that the people are asking us to do. And I think we all know who that was. So we need to remember what we have asked for in the past too. And I'm going to piggyback on what E.G. said. We've been on the court together 13 years. That entire 13 years, we have gone to Frankfurt year after year after year to lobby to try to get on the same playing field as the other counties in this Commonwealth. And we have not had the ability to do so. Fortunately, the legislature, maybe not intended, in their language in 2002, gave us the option now to be able to expand and create an industrial tax, which will put us on a level playing field in a lot of ways, not totally, but in a lot of ways. And it will give us the opportunity to finally to be able to do something in this community to take care of the services that we're all talking about. We're going to have to take care of these services, regardless if we get 10, 15, 20, 50, I don't know how many we're going to have to come in, but we have to have more revenue in order to do things that's going to satisfy our citizens. Our roads are in bad shape. We can, Kenny, one correction. I think we can use this this money on infrastructure in the unincorporated areas if this tax does pass, or this ordinance does pass. So that is money that we're going to be able to actually see going to work right back into the community where it comes out of. So we need to remember when opportunities come, we need to be mindful they don't always stay there. Legislation was written to give us that ability, and legislation can be written to be taken away. So we better strike while the iron's hot. I'll be voting for it, both of them.
Okay. Anyone else have any comment?
I think we've heard enough. Let's vote.
All right. All right, hearing none then, we will move forward with a vote. If we could have a roll call, please.
Squire Clem?
Yes.
Squire Hicks?
No.
Squire Muse?
Yes.
Squire Pennington?
Yes.
Squire Saltzman?
Yes.
Squire Thompson?
Yes.
Squire Whitehead?
Yes.
Squire Yates?
Yes.
Judge Tall?
Yes, motion passes. All right, we have a second ordinance to vote on, and this is ordinance number 338, series 2023. This is the industrial occupational tax ordinance amendment that I spoke of earlier. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion about this one? Hearing none?
Well, or are you going to say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, I think everything was said in the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think several people have said it. It's not so much about the future. It's what's going on right now. You know, talking about buying ambulances and stuff like that, that's not a knee-jerk reaction. That's a need reaction. We need them. We have to have them. We need to do it. And that's not for, oh, let's have ambulances sitting around for one day when somebody comes. We have to have that. And that's put us behind. It's not the only thing that's putting us behind. So for those reasons, I'll be voting yes again.
Okay. Anybody else?
I want to remind folks too that not only are the roads going to be utilized in every area of the community because of Blue Oval, and they're going to require repairs and improvements every year, and we all know the cost is going up more and more and more every year. So the expenses are going to be required of us each year as well. But out of not only the roads, but there's 13 bridges in our community. 13 bridges that are classified by the state inspector as fair. They're one inspection away from being closed. One inspection. That's the same bridges that all of our emergency services vehicles cross every day to get to you all. It's also the same bridges that crosses with the big yellow bus with our children. So we got to be mindful, and it does cost a little bit of money to replace a bridge. You're looking $250,000 to $1 million per bridge. And like I said, we've got 13. That's one inspection away from being closed down. So those are just some things that just want to remind folks of, that the reason that we're having to consider this.
Anybody else? Okay, go ahead and roll call.
Squire Clem?
Yes.
Squire Hicks?
No.
Squire Muse?
Yes.
Squire Pennington?
Yes.
Squire Saltzman?
Yes.
Squire Thompson?
Yes.
Squire Whitehead?
Yes.
Squire Yates?
Yes.
Judge Tall?
Yes, motion passes. And just before we go to the consent agenda, note that these ordinances require 2 readings, so this is the first. So basically, this vote says we're going to proceed on through the process, and we'll have another reading scheduled for the next fiscal court meeting in December. Okay, so moving on to the consent agenda, we're looking at the first 3 items, and then item J. These are all financial types of approvals that we need through financial reports and claims batch, paying bills and such. We've also got several personnel changes from the road department, solid waste, finance, E911, EMS, and buildings and grounds. Those are all resolutions number 226 all the way down to 231. And then items K and L, resolution 233 is related to a reappointment of Zach Hebert to the Hardin County Extension District Board. And then also a resolution 234 relating to the appointment of Candace Moses to the Hardin County Extension District Board. So these 2 appointments, one was a reappointment and then a new appointment of Candace. And then the last 4 items are all meeting minutes from the 4 different committees. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Squire Clem?
Yes.
Squire Hicks?
Yes.
Squire Muse?
Yes.
Squire Pennington?
Yes.
Squire Saltzman?
Yes.
Squire Thompson?
Yes.
Squire Whitehead?
Yes.
Squire Yates?
Yes.
Judge Tall?
Yes, motion passes. All right, so that brings us to the comments section of the agenda, and so does our county attorney have any comments?
I don't, thank you.
All right, thank you. How about our county clerk?
I'll be brief, yes. So it's been in the newspaper. I've shared with Fiscal Court that there are changes coming to the vehicle registration system that we operate here in Hardin County, as well as the 119 other counties. We have, since 1974, been using a program called Avis. It is DOS-based. If you are younger than Generation X, you've probably never seen DOS. I last saw it in Mr. Peterson's computer math class when I was in high school. But we've been operating off of that. There is a new version, Cavis, that has been under development longer than most of the people have been working on the first floor. It will finally be implemented and rolled out January 1. What that means for the citizens of Hardin County is between January 1 and January 9th, there will be no vehicle services at all of any kind. Not here in Hardin County, nowhere else. We cannot register you online. We can't register you on the phone. We can't even issue you a temporary plate. That is being suspended while 350 million files from the old system are transferred to the new system. That's what's taking so long. We have been training for this. We have been preparing for this. But anything conceived of or executed by a human being is going to have some flaws in it. So I am asking the patience of the public as we roll through this. Please be patient with the staff. Please be patient with us as we work through it. we are going to get everybody taken care of. We're going to get you help that you need. We're going to get you, but we ask that you please be patient. If your plates expire in December, that means your birth month is December, or maybe you have a specialty plate like college or university, please get those done by the end of the month. We are staying open the last Friday of the month. That's the 29th. The rest of the county government will be closed, but my office will be open so that we can get every last person taken care of that we can. I know a lot of people make it a habit to just kind of wait till the first of the year because the fees aren't that much to roll it over a day or two. Please don't be that person. Please come in, get your tags up to date. We want to make sure that you're driving legally and you're all set. We will not be able to, if you want to come in early, if your plates expire in January, we will not be able to serve you in December. The Department of Revenue doesn't upload the new assessments of vehicles earlier in advance at the time. So if you have any other questions, please see me at the first floor, talk to any of our clerks down there. We will be utilizing this time. I've got some special projects that my staff are going to be working on that will improve some of the other areas of services. All other services at the clerk's office will be available: real estate transactions, and most importantly, marriage licenses. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Magistrate Chris Yates.
Well, it's that time of year again, and Santa will be coming through town in Radcliffe, so on the fire truck. So check out City of Radcliffe's Facebook page to find out when Santa will be coming in your area. Also, I believe it's 10th annual Taste of Radcliffe is going to be Monday, December 4th at from 6 to 8 p.m. in Radcliffe. So you can get tickets from Lauren Hills, but unfortunately I do not have her number right now. Let me check it. I'll probably do it real quick. Nope, I do not. Maybe Kenny will back me up here and have a contact for us on the Taste of Radcliffe. There we go. We have Lauren Hills. You can contact her at 270-312-8941 to get tickets to the Taste of Radcliffe. Thank you, Mr.
Quick
Smith.
question, can you get those tickets if you just arrived there?
I do not.
They usually sell out, Judge. You might want to get your tickets.
Okay.
Sell out.
All right. My wife's not here. Oh, well. We'll get that taken care of.
Aren't they doing it on Eventbrite?
I think so.
I think you can get it through Eventbrite.
There you go.
So you can go on that website also.
All right, thank you.
And search.
Yes. Magistrate Kenny Saltzman.
I don't have anything, Judge.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Patsy Whitehead.
Yes, first of all, if you haven't had the opportunity, make sure you go through Freeman Lake Park and enjoy the Christmas lights. Christmas in the park is beautiful each and every year, and it only gets better, so I encourage everyone to do that. Also, and you know, we've had a lot of talk during this court session about those that need and those that may not need as much. And most definitely, there are a lot of people out there in need. Today is Giving Tuesday. And looking around the courtroom, I would say everyone here is in a position to give just a little bit to those that cannot give, to those that need. So I just want to remind you, not just today, but throughout the year and especially through the holidays, Larry, you're right. There's a lot of need out there and a lot of folks out there that cannot afford to put food on the table and have to make decisions about, you know, how to pay their taxes and what to pay and what not to pay. So when you think about helping others, just think about throughout the year giving, not just Giving Tuesday, but throughout the year. So with that, I'll pass it on to Magistrate Clem. Thank you.
Magistrate.
Remind the court, December the 19th is the next Finance Committee meeting, and across the hall at 3:30. And also, please don't drink and drive and text and drive.
Thank you. Magistrate Aaron Pennington.
No comments.
Magistrate E.G. Thompson.
Nothing further.
Okay. Magistrate Larry Hicks.
The only thing, just invite everybody to the Christmas parade downtown. I think it's December the 5th. It's
Elizabethtown you're talking about?
The Christmas parade for downtown Elizabethtown.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's December the 5th. So just ask everybody to come out, get and enjoy the season, and remember what Christmas is all about.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Kenny Muse.
I'd like to remind everybody, I think Vine Grove has their light up their city is Friday at 5, starts at 5.
You say this Saturday?
This Friday.
Friday at 5?
Yeah, starts at 5.
Okay.
That's all.
All right, thank you. Again, our next fiscal court meeting will be December 12th at 3:30 p.m. And I think that's it. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any objections? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned.